Hello BookTube, my name is Adrienne and today we're going to be talking about how I annotate my books. So I have seen this kind of video going around a lot about how people annotate their books because it's becoming a more acceptable thing to write in and to annotate your books, and everybody has a way that works for them. And so I kind of wanted to do this video and show you guys how I personally annotate my books, as well as some ways that I've tried in the past that just didn't work for me. So let's go ahead and get into this video. So I have never been a person that really annotated books or wrote in my books. It's just never been a thing I did. I liked having my books really pristine, especially because I never know if I'm going to keep a physical book. Because if I don't enjoy the book, I may not want to keep it. I do a unhaul at the end of every year where I take the books that I didn't enjoy or don't want anymore and I sell them to a used bookstore and then use that money to purchase books that I have enjoyed that I don't own physical copies of yet. For that reason, I never really annotated my books. The very first way I ever tried to annotate my books was with tabs. So I had read Meant to Be by Lauren Morel, and this book I have these 2 tabs in, which was my first attempt ever to annotate something. And I tried to do it in a color-coded system. I don't remember what it was. I feel like yellow. One of them was laughing. I don't remember what the other was, something that made me laugh. One of them was something different. I don't even remember. But I only have 2 tabs in here because this didn't last long. And that's partly because I didn't know what I was doing. And partly because I don't even remember what I was marking. Like, this yellow tab is on this page in this corner. But I don't know what it was for. I don't know what I was annotating because I wasn't comfortable writing in my books yet. So this was the first time I ever actually tried to annotate anything. So after that, I kind of quit annotating in my books and just kind of gave up, thinking that this wasn't for me because I didn't feel comfortable writing in my books, but tabbing really wasn't working for me. So I just kind of quit. And then I got to a point where I was so invested in a story and like I freaked out about something that I read and I knew I was going to be keeping the book forever that I just wrote in my book. So really quickly, I'm going to grab that book and show it to you and what I did. So the first book that I ever wrote anything in was Lord of Shadows by Cassandra Clare. Oh boy, let me see if I can find this. I have since annotated this book and tabbed it up a lot. So this is kind of a sneak peek of my current way of annotating, but let me see if I can find this right here. Was the very first thing that I ever did in a book. I got to this point in the story, which I'm not going to tell you about because it's spoilers, but I reached this point in the story and I was freaking out and I just felt the need to write in my book. And so I grabbed a pen that I had nearby and I like sectioned off, I'll show you. I sectioned off in this pink color down here the edges of the block of text that I was talking about, and then I drew a little sad face in the corner because it was like, I mean, it gets into like how I annotate with colors later, but it was like very sad but a very sweet moment at the same time. And so I annotated that, and that was the first thing I'd ever like felt the compulsion to write in my books before. And so that was the first thing I ever did. And after that, I didn't feel so scared of the idea of writing in my books, particularly books that I knew I was going to keep for myself. So after that, I was kind of okay with annotating and writing in my books. I just didn't know how I wanted to annotate yet. So that brings us to the next book I tried to annotate, which was The Distance Between Us by Casey West. This one I did a little bit differently. In the very front of the book, I wrote the day that I started reading this, which was January 13th of 2018. And then this was the second read through I had ever done. And then I put the rating I gave it, which was 4.5 out of 5 stars. And then I have no idea where these things are now because I don't use them anymore. But I had these like Bible highlighters. Let's see if I can find an example that I used to highlight sections in. So like this, I highlighted in pink. Each color had a different meaning. Pink was like cute friendship, romantic moments, things like that. And then like I would underline things like that. But then I also wrote in like the margins of my book with like thoughts I was having at the time, which was something that I believe I had seen Julie from Pages and Pens doing. And so I tried that, and this just didn't work for me. Having to stop to write my thoughts out like that really like pulled me out of the story. And so this just was not a system of annotating that worked for me. And so I didn't do that. And then from there, I remembered writing in Lord of Shadows and how I had used the pen that was closest to me at the time, which was a multicolored pen, and I squared off and highlighted, like marked things. And I decided that I wanted to explore that way of annotating, and so I decided to do that in a specific way. So really quickly, I'm going to pull out the things that I use for annotating. When I annotate, I carry around this pouch, which is a thing that I got from Owl Crate in a subscription box, and I think this was Owl Crate. Actually, I take it back. I think this came from Fake Crate for their Queen of Air and Darkness Hangover Recovery Kit. So I think that's actually what this came from now that I'm thinking about it. I keep all of my annotating stuff in this pouch, and then I just carry it around with me when I'm annotating. So if I have my book with me, I just keep this with it at all times. And in there, I have these 3 items. I have a protractor because I'm a little obsessive and I like to have clean straight lines when I'm underlining things. So I use this to like keep a straight line in my, when I'm underlining things in my book. I then have this Bic pen, which is multicolored. It has a pink, blue, green, and purple pen color ink in it. And then I have these tabs. I bought these on Amazon. I actually got all of these things on Amazon, and I will link all of them down below if you're interested. I have no idea what these are called. But I have these flags. I only use these 2 purples, the blue, the green, and the pink. The orange and the yellow I do not use for annotating my books, but I do use them for other things like outside of annotating my fiction books. These are the tabs I use, and each color means something different for me. And so really quickly, I'm going to grab down a book that I can just show you these things in. I'm not going to show you in Lord of Shadows because it has the potential to be spoilers, but I use the system in Lord of Shadows. I have now tabbed up Lord of Shadows, Lady Midnight, Queen of Air and Darkness, and I have also tabbed up A Study in Charlotte and The Last of August. And I am currently working on rereading and annotating The Case for Jamie. I just started this one, so I just have the dust jacket on my bookshelf. I'm going to put this up, and I will probably grab down Lady Midnight to share. So this is my copy of Lady Midnight. It is all tabbed up with my colors. Some of these colors are kind of self-explanatory. Pink ones are romance or cute moments. These pink tabs do not have to be like romance between the main couple or a couple. It can be friendship moments. It can be just sweet romance, like cute moments. Anything that like makes my heart happy, those are things I tab in pink. Things I tab in green are things that made me laugh. Usually things that like I find funny or things that make me literally laugh out loud while I was reading. Purple is quotes that I really liked and wanted to save and remember, and then blue is sad moments or things that like broke my heart. So those are things there. So now that I've explained all of the colors and what they mean, I will kind of show you what all, like an example of this. Let me go to the very beginning because hopefully that won't be too spoilery. Yeah, the first tab I have in this book, the first tab I have in here is a purple tab, and so I will show you. This is what it looks like here. You can see I underlined something. I used my protractor and my pen, and I underlined the specific thing I was focusing on and then put a purple tab next to it. The quote I underlined was, "The law is hard, but it is the law." Very common thing. It's the Clave motto from the Mortal Instruments. No spoilers on that one, thank goodness. So yeah. And then I love these tabs because they are see-through. So like when I go to reread this, I can still see through this tab. So I don't have to remove it and then re-stick it down or pick a new one, because I can see through it. I can read that line without having to redo it. So yeah, those are the kinds of things I do. Now I'm gonna see if I can find a spot where I can show you like something, like especially with the pink tabs, oftentimes those moments are large chunks of text. They're not little snippets. And so for those ones, I do it a little bit differently. So for example, this pink tab here, you can see is starting right here, and then underneath this pink tab, I don't know if you can see, is a little bitty like corner bit. And so that goes, and then on the next page, down here on the bottom, there is another one. And that is the section of text that goes with that pink tab, so that I'm not underlining an entire section or anything like that. So that's usually what I do for that kind of thing. So like I said, this is the system that I have found that really works the best for me, especially because now when I go back to, like, when I'm thinking about one of my favorite books, so when I'm thinking about Lady Midnight, I'm thinking about a moment that happened in Lady Midnight, or I'm thinking about a quote that I really liked, I can go and grab this book off my shelf and just pull it out and flip to, if I'm trying to think of, oh, what was that quote that I really liked, I can go in to Lady Midnight, flip to the purple tab and be like, oh, this was the quote. And if there were two things he believed were limitless, it was love and imagination. Like, I can just flip to those things. I was like, oh, I really just want to read that one cute scene between Emma and Julian. Well, I have it tabbed. I can go to that pink tab and see that cute moment. So yeah, that's kind of the system that I have for tabbing up my books. It also helps if I ever decide I want to do a review for a book, which I haven't done any reviews because I'm just not comfortable doing reviews, like video reviews. But if I ever decided to do a video review for these books, I could easily flip to these kinds of moments with these tabs. So this is kind of my system that I use, and it's the system that I feel like works the best for me. Obviously, annotating is different for everyone, and so for me, I like having the different colors and then being able to correspond those colors with my pen, because then I can see, you know, at a glance what every moment was, and that's just, this is the way I like to annotate my books. So I hope you guys found this video interesting or useful. Maybe if you decide to give this a shot, let me know. If you annotate in a different way, I would love to know how you do it, because it's always interesting to me to see the different ways that people annotate their books, because it is such a personal experience. So that is it for this video today, guys. I hope you found this interesting, because I know that this is a video that I watch on a lot of people's channels, and I always find it really interesting. So I hope you guys thought this was entertaining. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.